online now.
No. Refresh. Slash screen.
Does it work like a roller coaster?
It does. Yeah. I think we're doing the things on the places.
Why don't I tweet that out?
Hey, you know what? Should probably tweet that out.
Okay.
We'd appreciate it.
Someone should post it in the Discord.
I will.
Ah,
Get them to leave.
so many socials.
Get them to leave that chat and come to this chat.
Well, except in a way, that chat would be persistent, whereas this will just disappear into the ether.
Oh.
I mean,
Sounds like the sound works.
Ah.
do 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 do.
The larch. Why was the Human Torch denied a bank loan?
No references.
You would think you'd have at least 3.
Hey, this is the second person that's called us boss today.
Who just called us boss?
Evan in the chat.
Don't do that, Evan.
I ain't your boss. I fucking fired you.
What happened? Did you just throw something into the live stream?
I don't know. The larch. Taste that water.
Yeah, it's
Ew,
good
gross.
water.
Man. They should make more of this. Stuff's good.
Water?
Yeah.
There's some inside of you.
I feel like there's some real money to be made in that market.
Tweet. Tweet.
Oh,
Tweet, tweet.
I gotta go make tweet. Go tweet.
All you have to do is click a button that retweets.
Retweet. Retweet.
It's done.
Wait, wait. Go retweet.
Yeah. All right.
I love disambiguating the word until it's just like literal noise.
Man, I like how nobody has a credit name except for like the top 5 people.
There were only 5 people in this. I don't know who those other people are.
They had
Mustache
names for
Man.
They had
and
names for a second.
Hard-boiled cop.
Spoiler, they dead. Don't matter.
Man, there's a 65-minute cut we could have watched.
No. No.
Heavily cut.
I can't imagine what would have been cut out of this.
Oh, really?
I can't. I
This is
won't.
the same spaceship
I think
shot
they cut
8
all the
times?
gore.
And just made it a Jesus movie.
Jesus, I don't know.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus, y'all.
Just speaking in tongues here.
I'm just gonna go home.
And just never participated on a podcast of this movie. This guy directed.
This is the problem. I don't care about this guy.
Aw.
Aw.
Come on.
Chuck was doing it too. Come on.
Retweet.
At least you're not shouting it as loud as possible.
And I don't do that anymore.
No.
No.
Just say
Thank you.
Yeah. Because your headphones are always turned up way higher than everyone else's.
Yep. Totally are.
Don't know how.
I know that when I sit over there. in your chair.
Oh, you put his.
headphones
possibly
be higher than anybody
Put your headphones on my head, and they're so loud.
Oh God, it's like.
louder than anybody else's.
What?
They can't. They can't be louder than anyone else's. There aren't separate outputs for the headphones.
Yeah,
No,
they're-
but I mean, they might be like registering it different. I don't know.
loud.
Maybe it has a does it have volume control on itself?
It does have. Well, my extension has a volume control on it, but all it does is the only thing that it can do. It's just a potentiometer. It can turn it down. It can't turn it up. Technically,
We're just fucking with you.
go fuck off. I'm too tired for this shit. Plus, I hate you all.
Oh,
Plus,
fine.
Except
plus you're
Maggie.
2 weeks from retirement.
Yeah.
That's also correct. Hey, BMFcast is live.
Oh, is it?
People should watch that.
Yeah, they're right.
I've heard that's all right.
It's a pretty good show.
It's not both Chuck fine.
I heard it sucks.
One person says
It's too politically correct.
It is. We're pretty political.
Political. I gotta get.
I have been told. Man. iTunes reviews.
Yeah.
Most frustrating thing on earth.
They're terrible.
There's no way to
Is it?
respond to it. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of all the things on earth.
They are the worst.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's true.
Wow.
I know.
But it's like the one thing there's like no way to respond to it whatsoever.
I feel like we could take care of iTunes comments if we really wanted to. I don't think
All you
it'd be
can
that
do is
hard.
say, this isn't helpful.
Yeah. You
No,
can,
no.
you
I
can
mean,
go.
like, of all the world problems, we can handle that one. Just be like, Apple.
Actually, we can't.
We've
Yeah,
decided.
get Apple to listen to you. Good luck.
Hey, Apple, we've decided that iTunes comments are the worst thing on earth. They might respond
I don't think they will. I think they've
if you
heard,
make a good case.
hey, Apple, your blank is the worst thing on earth about everything they make.
But they're just one line and that's it. We would make
Oh,
a
we
good
would
case.
cite facts.
Yeah, cite facts. Of which there are none. But we'd cite them.
In conclusion.
No, opinions are facts now.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
As long as you say them with authority.
All right.
Let's do podcasts.
Okay, yeah, we should do podcasts. It's a little later. than
Yeah.
normal somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got caught in a space crystal.
We did.
I have good news, though.
Yeah?
This plot should go quickly.
I believe it will. I believe it'll
There's a chance?
warp right along.
So you're saying there's a chance. All right, and welcome to the BMFcast.
Hey!
BMFcast!
Episode
podcast.
388.
Whoa.
Numbers.
Gracious McGee.
Yeah. That's fast enough to go through all three Back to the Future movies. I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
And what we do each and every episode of the BMFcast is we go and we watch ourselves a quote-unquote bad movie. Come in here and talk about it for the first half, and then we rate them. Good bad movies, enjoyable bad movies. They get 1 to 5 joxes and robot jocks. However, there are bad movies. As a stay away, they get a negative sliding scale, 1 to 5 bags after bags of trash.
Gross. Drippy bags.
Refuse.
Yeah.
Garbage.
After garbage.
Throw it out.
Colostomy bags?
Sure.
Yeah. Poop.
Yeah,
Poop bags.
Dumpster juice. Get them out of here.
Get him out of here.
Get them out.
Get them gone.
So, we
I
didn't
didn't
realize...
say it like fucking Patrick Warburton.
Hey, get him out of here.
Dumpsters. I don't know. I'm just.
Spitball
I don't
here.
even know where I'm going with this.
Spitball in the accent.
Yep.
So we didn't really go in with this intention, but we kind of inadvertently completed a filmography with tonight's movie.
Here we did.
And that is 1986's Star Crystal. Yeah, we sort of inadvertently created the filmography, completed the filmography of Lance Lindsay.
Yes.
Yeah. This other movie, Real Bullets.
Real bullets.
Yeah, so 2 movies and we're done.
And these two movies could not be more different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about
Well, this
this
one
movie.
didn't have any real bullets in it.
No,
No, it did not.
it had some pew-pews.
Had laser bullets.
Yeah. Let's get a very quick plot summary out of the way for this movie and talk more about it. Crew members aboard a spaceship encounter an alien life form intent on killing them.
Yeah.
That sounds like another movie I've seen.
Yeah.
Star Slammer.
Life.
Life?
The movie
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy. And
you're gonna eat
No.
your cornbread?
No, not that one. The new one with with Deadpool and the Prince of Persia.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Never saw it. Couldn't tell you.
What?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So this movie, huh?
Yeah.
It's a space movie.
Yeah. And it stars nobody you would recognize unless you'd seen Real Bullets.
Oh, were these people in Real Bullets?
Like 3 of them were.
Okay.
And that's almost the entire cast.
Yeah. Not a lot of people in this movie.
No.
You got curly hair guy.
Some of them have names. Right. Hold up here.
All right,
Like,
sorry.
yes.
Sorry.
All right.
His name was James Curly Hair Guy.
Okay.
I don't think we should talk about like the names of the people until we get to them. 'Cause, I
Okay,
mean, the
yeah.
actors. Who the fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a who the fuck cast. You know.
Yeah.
So the plot wise of the movie, like, we get a little intro-y sequence where there's a couple of dudes down on Mars. They've got instruments and they're pointing and gesticulating for a while, and then they point over there and dig up a thing and carry it back to the spaceship. I mean, well, they carry it away, which we should probably mention. There are also blue skies and clouds on Mars.
Of course there are.
So they were in the total. This was actually all a dream. This is Total Recall implantation thing, you know. And
Well,
we're
Quaid
just
had
watching-
started the
yeah.
reactor already.
So, yeah, so they take it back to the ship, and man, when they take off their jumpsuits, like one dude is just like if you looked up like Skinnerd fan, it's this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They probably have Dale Earnhardt 3s on the back of their spacesuits.
yeah.
Yeah.
you're
Like
part
one
of,
guy's
part
just
of the Mercury
typical-
3 program. Nah, man,
Nah, man.
3 car
3.
for life.
Like everyone else is just like, yeah, they're probably a space person, but like this guy is just like, you know, he was a mechanic working in Alabama and got scooped up by a spaceship. It's just he's Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. That's the appearance of this guy. But none of that matters because they're like, we need Cokes, and they have some Coca-Colas.
They have some in plastic bottle space Coca-Cola. Spoca-Cola.
And I don't know, they're like talking to a doc, and the doc's yelling at them, and then a space lady comes in, and she yells at everybody, and they all leave. And
The crystal cracks open.
yeah, because
Starts oozing.
yeah, and it wants like this little screwdriver that's on the table. So
Yeah,
that
it's like,
starts vibrating.
get my
Eyeglass
autograph book.
And so it kind of cracks open, and then like the computer starts freaking out. It's like, hey, the space panel is short circuited, the air supply is turned off. The computer just reads over and over again, air supply is turned off, which is, you always want your air supply on because that's the soundtrack
Right.
to your life right there. Is,
But wait, if it's turned off, then maybe you have enough love.
no,
No?
you're always all out of love.
But I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know how math works.
Sometimes you just gotta make love out of nothing at all, So I mean, it's get ready for an hour of air supply jokes, everybody.
No.
I'm done. I got literally nothing
All
else.
right, fine. That was kind of it. But yeah, so it's like, hey, warning, the air supply is off, and then it just cuts to everyone's blue.
Yeah. They did.
They blew themselves. But yeah, it's weird because it's like it's an alert, like, hey, your oxygen levels are going to go down, and then it just cuts to everyone dead, and that's it, really.
Yeah.
Like, so much for those people.
And then they show the ship drifting through space, and it says 2 months later.
Yeah. And it gets sucked in by a space station. It just pulls into this just your generic ass circular space station. Although when the bay doors open, on each door is literally the Millennium Falcon. Not like someone just kind of took one and dismantled it and put little pieces of it everywhere as an in-joke. No. There's 2 fucking models of the Millennium Falcon, one on each door as it just opens up.
I mean, it's not the entire thing. Like, it didn't have the little cockpit
Yeah.
side thing, but I mean, it's obviously like instead
There's
of
no
just,
mistaking it.
Yeah,
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of just like kit bashing something, they were like, yeah, just take that entire top part.
Paint it on there and let's go. So yeah, this thing comes in, and then you're in a space station for a little while, and there are various people here, none of whom ultimately matter.
Nope,
really.
No, not at all.
There's a couple people who we find out later are in this shuttle that arrived. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's where they were.
They
were-
mention it.
Yeah, they mentioned that they were fixing whatever. They were trying to figure out what went wrong, and they were fixing
Okay.
it.
I didn't know they were actually on it. I thought they were.
Yeah, because they kept talking about how the people were such dumbasses that they
Okay.
didn't have the safeguards on that would keep them from
Yeah.
ending up all out of love.
But there's like a boardroom where like a guy with a mustache has arrived.
That's a really generous term for it.
Boardroom?
Yeah.
Well, it's a dark room with a table in it.
Yeah, there wasn't
Yep.
a lot going on, so it was a boardroom.
There was a lot of smoking.
Disgruntled cop is in there smoking. Guy in a mustache has shown up who is apparently like
Well,
a big deal to somebody.
There's like weird flirting because this sexy lieutenant lady gets on the
Yeah.
elevator with them, and it's just like, "Hey, haven't seen you. How was Earth?" And like, it's all setting me up like, "Oh, okay, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And who's she, and what's going on between them?" And now
That doesn't matter.
doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I like that this movie sets up two sets of like people. You know, because you spend a little time with the sweaty Skinnerd guy in the beginning, and then they're like, "Oh no, he's dead."
Yeah, that guy's
And
dead.
this one, it's like you meet a couple people, and there's like people have a conversation on an elevator, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got transferred here," and there's all this stuff, and then
And they're like, they knew each other, and you're like, oh, well, what's their backstory and everything? And it's like, oh, they're developing these characters. No, they're totally not.
no,
It's just wasting time.
yeah,
Because they all go into the boardroom.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's going to be kind of an additional layer of ripoff of Alien because you've got military science guy and corporate guy that are like, it's not my fault. It's like, well, sure, it wasn't our ship's fault either. And
Yeah.
they're just yelling back and forth, and then we're watching one of our who basically ends up being the main character of the movie, Roger Campbell, computer expert.
From Mad Men.
Roger Campbell, computer expert, is working on this shuttle, trying to determine what happened.
And we're not giving him that title. It's on his badge.
Oh yeah, right.
yeah.
Everyone has these like very large, what do you call that? Like stitched, hand stitched.
Yeah, they're
but
just
there's a word for that, like when they-
badges. Iron-ons.
Embroidered.
Yes.
But yeah, your name and your
And
job
job
is
title,
just on you. And Roger Campbell is just kind of talking with this other dude who's there bouncing a ball. Like, come on, man, we're going to be late for whatever space game we're going to play. Space handball or whatever.
Space squash.
And
squash.
they're arguing, I guess. No one talks in this movie. Everyone is mad at everybody. But like, he bounces a ball at one point, and it hits something, and then alarms start going off, and he's like, what'd you do, Roger Campbell? And he's like, I didn't do anything. And then it's just like everyone on the space station is hearing the alarm, and they're like, what's up? What's happening?
Yeah, there's people running down the hall, and like it looks like rubble is falling from the space station.
Drywall
Which, by the way,
is
the
falling.
space station has like full-on escalators.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they are in a banking complex of some kind.
It's
the
like
most
an office
elaborate
building
set.
from the 80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, it's got businesses inside and plenty of escalators, and everyone's running around like, oh no, and it seems like, oh, we got to get that shuttle out of here. There's something wrong with it. Get it out. And the shuttle, with like a few people on it that we've just kind of met briefly, just
Yeah, there were 3 people on it prior to. There
Yeah.
was computer expert. There was the guy who turns out he said something. He was a security guard.
Okay.
And like I guess he was just there, like like they do, like, oh, you have an outside consultant. This guy's got to follow you around. But
Yep.
they're friends, sort of. And then you had angry lady in the engine room.
yeah, the engineer
and
maybe.
and 2 ladies from the space station run on.
Yeah.
And are like,
Oh God, what's happening?
what? We got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, it's code, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to be atoms in a few seconds.
And you think it's the shuttle that's the problem. Like, if we keep the shuttle in here, we're all going to blow up. But so the shuttle exits the space station, and they all just look at the screen, and the space station blows up.
Yeah.
It's never explained why. Like in the slightest.
I think maybe the star crystal did it, but
It did.
how?
Like the
Magic.
the power, because they mentioned something later that it's like an intense power supply.
Maybe.
Like,
I don't know. But yeah.
It's
maybe that thing that
it's-
got broke, like
it's a computer.
shorted. I don't know.
Yeah.
All we know is like
Thing blows up.
these 5 people are sitting there in the control room, going away from this thing as it Death Stars,
yeah.
and they stare at it for a long time.
Yeah,
do?
no
in
reaction.
horror.
Yeah.
And it blows up for a long
It
time.
does, nice and slow.
Which one of the 2 ladies that ran off from the space station like immediately started to instant out even before they pulled away.
The
Like she was like,
nutritionalist.
"We're all gonna die."
Yeah.
Yeah, she's basically the space lunch lady, the splunch lady, and so they've been joined. Like I said, there's engineer in the engine room, security guy, computer guy. They've been joined by lunch lady and a doctor of some
Dr.
sorts.
Lady. Dr. Kimberly.
Yeah, lady doctor.
Yeah. And she hates everybody. Everyone hates
she's
Roger
so
Campbell. The lady and the engineer lady fucking just hates everything. She's Andrea Martin. I mean, she's just crazy hair and
Billy.
yes, Engineer Billy.
Well, I guess the thing is, Cal, the security guard guy, like immediately as soon as this happens, he's like, "All right, we got to assign jobs to everybody on it. We got to make this happen."
Yeah.
And he's like, "My buddy Roger's going to fly the ship. He's going to be the pilot. He's going to be in charge of everything. He's going to be the captain because he knows computers."
Right.
In the future, knowing computers will make you captain of a
And so,
spaceship.
of course, the doctor's like, "I'm a doctor and I'm a lady," and he's like, "Well, that's never going to work."
It's like, look, this is the white guy.
I like that this is
He's
basically
in charge.
the same plot as Jen from the IT crowd.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know computers. You're in charge now.
Yeah. But he's like, so I understand you worked in the cafeteria. Why don't you go whip us up some sandwiches?
I mean, he doesn't say it like that. He's like, he's a
Kind
lot.
of does.
He's a lot nicer. He's like, you used to work in the cafeteria. I'm going to put you in charge of all the food and water supplies. So
he puts the doctor lady in charge of determining how much food and water they have. He puts the nutritionalist in charge of whipping up some sandwiches.
Of making them food.
Yeah.
Well,
why don't you serve us
He
food?
literally assigns her to make them
her
sandwiches.
job as a lunch lady, she should make sandwiches.
Her badge did say nutritionist on it.
She might know something about the food and the water. The doctor
she
lady
should
could
make
be
the
used
food.
elsewhere.
No, they don't
To
need
be-
they don't need a doctor.
Yeah. And
They're
They're
going to
in
need a
space.
doctor.
They
Toot
don't
sweet.
need a
They're going to
doctor
need
in
one
space.
right away.
yeah, and Billy, knowing how to fix mechanical stuff, they're like, "Why don't you go fix mechanical stuff?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Of course I'm going to fucking do it. Of course I'm going to do that."
And she has, oh man, she's got some hair.
It's it's a bird's nest.
It's like a permed, like super curly. It might not be permed, but it's super curly.
You kept calling her a witch.
She does. She looks like they snatched her out of the woods, put a jumpsuit on her, and put her on the set of this.
Yeah.
I'm constantly expecting her to put hexes on things. That's what I'm
She
saying.
also has dirt on her overalls.
Yes.
Just like
Grease.
thumbprints of grease everywhere, not like smudges. Just like put a blop there and put one there to make her look dirty. So, okay, it's explained that this ship is not an actual spaceship. It's just a shuttlecraft.
Technically,
So
that
it's-
makes it a spaceship.
It's
but-
garbage,
And it's going to take them like 2 years
Yeah.
to get back to Earth.
and they've only got food for 3 months, so that's a problem. But luckily, there are 2 salvage depots on the way, so that'll help. But so explaining that this is a shuttlecraft is important because, like, it doesn't have normal doors, it doesn't have normal walkways. Everything is a tube.
Yeah, everything is a series of tubes.
Yeah. So like there's no doors to all the different departments. You have to crawl through fucking tubes to get everywhere. So there are lots of shots of people just crawling around in tubes.
God, that fucking Jeffrey.
Exactly. So you've got a poorly conceived spaceship for whatever it's like all the rooms themselves are roomy, but getting to and from there's no human way to get there.
Yeah, you have to crawl on your hands and knees.
Yes. So there's that. Now, we're only about 12 minutes into their journey home. Like, they have not established a passing of time at any point.
Nope.
So they've sent all the people off. Sandwich lady comes back with sandwiches.
No.
And she's like, I got sandwiches for you. And they're like, oh, great, sandwiches. And just start chowing down like there are no ration problems whatsoever.
Well, I like that Cal starts eating it.
Yeah.
And our captain buddy Roger is just like so intent on all the electronics that he's looking at the screens and messing with things. And then Cal's like, hey man, she brought you a sandwich. And he's like, oh, food.
Oh, way more intensely than that.
I know.
Oh, my
It's so great.
Dude gets fucking stoked about food for like 3 seconds.
You've never seen anyone.
What's even weirder about this, the way this entire scene plays out, is Cal is hardcore hitting on Sherry, the lunch lady.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, when he assigned her to do the sandwich stuff, he like watched her crawl out of the space.
Yes. And all the music in this movie is super leading up to porn.
Oh, it's porny as shit.
I mean, it is, and that scene where it's like, okay, so they had sent everyone off to do their own things, and he's like, well, why don't you go make us sandwiches? And she's like, oh, okay. It's like everyone else has exited the movie, and it's just those 2 characters, and she gets in the tube, starts crawling away, and he's like, check out that ass. And you're like, this is so an intro to porn. This is when the porn starts happening. This is how they do it. They exit all the other characters from the scene, and then it's these two people.
Except that then he just fixed the cable.
Yeah, she just makes sandwiches and then comes back. But yeah, so man, Roger's so stoked to get the food.
Because like they've been hit, and he's like doing a whole thing. He's like, oh, like you're really fine, girl. And she's like, oh, really? I think I'm a little fat, which the actress is not at all.
No,
in no way.
And her jumpsuit is like tied on. It's like there's no belt in the world that could keep this thing on her because she weighs 60 pounds.
And instead of like saying no, you're not at all, like that's crazy. He's like, well, don't worry. When we get to the place of all we have are MRE rations or whatever, like you're gonna lose plenty of weight.
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, you blew it.
Yeah.
All you had to say was, what? No, you're not. But
he was totally negging.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
doing.
the whole thing, like this is all this, like all this is happening behind the guy who's just staring intently at the screen, and then she sets the tray of sandwiches down, and that's when he turns. It's like
food.
Yeah, it's like really you just. There's tuning out, and then there's like there was a porno happening behind you.
Yeah, several times.
Yeah,
but so
while this is happening,
yes, down in the engine room, Billy is angrily doing whatever it is, and there's been lots of back and forth on the intercom.
Yeah, whenever he's asked anybody for an update about anything, they're like, "Leave me the fuck alone."
Yeah,
you're not my real dad.
It's also been 12 minutes. They've been on this this mission for 12 minutes.
Hey man, Space Madness can come up at any time and strike.
Ice cream bar.
I swear, he sends them all away, and then 2 seconds later is asking for a status update. Like, there is no passage of time. It is just like, all right, what's up in the engine room? And she's like, I just fucking got here. What do you want? And he's like, I'm full power. I need the things. And she's just, whatever, dude. Just give me a second. I don't know why you're in charge, computer guy. I'm a smart engineer lady, but whatever.
And also, the two that seemed previously kind of chummy before are now like, you will call me Lieutenant. It's like, what? Why are you angry at him?
Yeah. She's like, don't call me Billy. My name's Lieutenant
And he's like,
Billerson.
oh, well, I'm Captain Roger now, so.
Lieutenant Billers. Jesus, Chuck.
Yeah. But, so, the...
Yeah, but everybody but Sherry the Sandwich Lady is pissed at everybody else.
Yeah. Sherry's just worried about
And let's
being
keep in mind, this is only like 45 minutes since the ship has left.
Yes, they are really have not been out in space very long.
No.
And for whatever reason, Dr. Lady...
Lady Doctor.
Dr.
Kimberly, like, when they were voting on who's going to be in charge and they picked Roger, she was just like, why him? And it's like, why you? You're a doctor. Like, you don't know any... So, like, she's complaining that he's going to be the pilot because he knows computers and the systems are run by computers.
Yeah, but he's also like, look, this is a spaceship. There's no steering wheel. I just talk to the computer, and the computer only talks to me because I'm the computer guy, and I programmed it that way. And her name's Bernice. Because
but I'm just saying, like, they're confrontational for no particular reason.
Yeah, everyone hates everybody.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Billy's
in the engine room fixing things.
But
and
so
that's
is
when
Goopy Monster.
Yes, we've realized that Goopy Monster from the Star Crystal is somewhere on board.
Yes, and it's in the engine room. This is also when we notice that the floor is not actual grating, but it's just cardboard with grating holes painted onto it.
Yep. Yeah, like they had a grating stencil.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it looks like it was like shoddily spray painted.
Well, and as somebody, I think it was Chuck pointed out in the middle of the movie, like they didn't even Foley in great sounds. They Foleyed in the sound of people walking on cardboard.
Yeah, it's they could have continued their illusion that it's supposed to be grating, but no, they didn't bother. But anyway, so Star Crystal Monster just is tentacly and goopy, and like there's a puddle of goo on the floor, and she's like, "Ew, goo, what's this?" And then there's a strange series of events where
she just touches it.
Yeah,
just reaches out and touches this weird goopy shit on the floor that shouldn't be on the floor of a spacecraft.
But I think she yells just randomly at the captain for that point, like, "God damn it, what did you do?"
I think, she was like, what broke or whatever.
But then, like, so she picks up a wrench and goes behind the red laser shooter prop that's in every fucking movie. And then it gets real disjointed because you see, like, a hand, like a psycho hand, just disembodied, like, hitting something with the wrench.
I think that's supposed to be her trying to hit the
she goes around and is like, oh my god, and then you see the wrench coming down. Simultaneously, you also see tentacles coming from every crevice and grabbing her. And
but she gets dead.
Yeah, and like they're mostly intentionally not showing most of the goopy monster yet.
Yeah, no.
And I mean, and it's also apparently still growing.
Yeah.
But
because
like,
you did see like a little meat bag thing pop out at one point and start like pulsating and like it's getting bigger, but
yeah,
you're not seeing.
But
what
this death
thing
is also kind of obscured.
Yeah.
Like it's cut really strange, and you don't really know what's happening. It's just like all of a sudden there's blood spraying and tentacles wrapped around.
Yeah, but
appendages
eventually,
and-
there's the tentacles are wrapped around a hand, and there's just like they filled that sleeve with like a fucking trash bag of blood because they're
which they just pop and just blood just goes flying out of the sleeve. Like that's not how blood works.
Yeah, like Billy her blood pressure must have been sky high.
It was pretty high.
Because she's fucking erupting blood.
Because when it got a chance to get out, it fucking escaped.
Yeah, but she's dead, and we assume Goopy Monster did it.
Yes. Cut back to the bridge, and the two dudes are fucking drunk.
Oh yeah.
No, not yet.
No?
They send what's her name. They're like, hey, why don't you take sandwiches down to Billy and the other chick?
Well, they've been drinking. Well, we haven't seen it yet because yes, Sandwich Lady has been. She takes some to the doctor and then is going in to help Billy or give Billy her sandwiches. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she takes them to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Thanks for the sandwiches."
Yeah. Like,
and she's like,
"Guess I won't starve now."
And she's like, "Are you all right?" And she's like, "I'm sorry. I can't handle this dumbass who's a captain now.
Roger's in charge, and he's gonna like get us home, and I hate that. Rawr.
I'm way more educated than him. Don't get it."
I'm smart. I don't know.
Well, there's something she says later that when we get to it.
Well,
it's like,
okay.
Like, wow, it's a good thing you weren't made
But
captain.
she's like, why don't you just go bring Billy a fucking sandwich? Get your dumb ass out of here, nutritionist.
Fucking shine box.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So she goes back to the engine room and oh shit, finds Billy's desiccated little mummy corpse.
Yeah,
thing.
little slimy mummy Billy, still with permed out hair, but but the rest of her is not much. And she's like, and then it's kind of point of view gooey shots of thing.
Yeah, and it's weird because like every time you see a body, it's like they're dried out. Like the monster was like,
it's just like all the fluids I need to replace all the goo I spit out at you. But yeah, so I don't know. It kind of.
Yeah, but then she runs back to the doctor's office and is like covered in goop and crawls her way back.
Yeah,
is covered in goop and is just like, oh my fucking hell.
Yeah,
and that's when Lady Doctor calls up to the front and they're like, hey,
thought you'd be calling. Hi, what's going on?
Is it booty call time?
1 hour into the trip, and they are fucking wasted on space water or whatever it is they're drinking.
It's space toilet wine.
Oh, okay.
Spoil it wine.
And so she, like, you don't see it, but she just, it looks like she just scrapes off something off of the crotch of her spacesuit and puts it in the space analyzer. And then she's like, Captain.
Well, because when she went in there, Billy was like, what's this? Ah, shit, why is there like coolant on my floor?
Right.
She went, oh, what's that? Full hand.
Yes. So she has a pile of goo on her, which the doctor lady is just like, oh, God, scrapes it off, puts it in her scanner, or just throws it right in the scanner. And then she's yelling at the captain like, I'm analyzing the goo I found on her pants. Or her,
Billy's dead.
Yeah. And the captain's just like, yeah, I thought Billy had some lesbian tendencies. I'm drunk.
And the doctor gets so pissed she yanks the thing off the wall.
Yeah.
The intercom. She's like, fucking shit.
And Roger's like, well, she hung up on me. And the other dude's like, use the emergency intercom, man. That'll let her hear you.
Yeah. And then
they are both so fake drunk acting.
Yeah. But then he becomes like the drunk outside the, they've locked him out. And he's like, hey, we need to talk. Why won't you talk to me?
Don't be mad, okay?
You up? Eggplant emoji.
Come on, just talk. Just talk to me a little, just for a few. Just talk to me. I just want to talk to you.
And then she finally gets up there, and she's just like,
listen, idiots.
yeah, she's like, Billy's dead.
Yeah.
She's fucking freaking out. Somebody go check on her.
She went up there mostly
The
to use the real computer.
Because it won't respond. And he's like, it only responds to me. She's my girl. And she's like, well, that's stupid. What if you die? And he's like, I didn't think of that.
That is probably the most salient point anyone could have made in this entire trip.
Yep.
And then he's just like, go ahead, Beatrice or Bernice or whatever. Tell her the results.
They're like, life form unknown, can live without oxygen,
Yeah.
made of hydrogen, silicate, some other bullshit,
Yeah,
and unknown substances.
And they just flip the sober switch. They're like, well, that's a problem.
We should probably get check on her because she's back there by herself.
Yeah.
And so they go over to their handy dandy like person tracking heat signature system.
They've got a weird like light bright system in the room where it's just like there's
There's
dots.
somebody hiding behind that thing with a LED on a stick.
Yeah, just dragging it across this piece of black construction paper. And so that's literally all it is. It's an outline of this stupidly designed ship, and they've got like little red dots for the people, and they're like, there's one white dot.
Yeah, well, they're like, oh, she's over there in the whatever it was, like
Yeah.
ship's quarters or something like that. And they're like, and he's just like, that's not her. It's white. It's a different heat signature.
Yeah.
She's still over there in the medical bay or
Right.
whatever. Science lab with
So-
a pen and a pad.
They just start screaming at her like, you gotta lock the door. Get up and lock the door. And she's just like, nah.
Yeah, she's
Too scared to go to school
Yep.
today. Not getting up.
yeah. But once she gets to the door, she finally gets up there and is about to hit the button, and the door slides open,
Yes. And
and we get
some more
alien
tentacles.
vision
Yeah.
of her, and you can hear everyone yelling over the intercom. They're like, "Well, there's acid over there on the table. Throw it on it."
Yeah, throw the thing at it. And so she doesn't. I don't think she picks the right one.
Well, this is after they were yelling at her to lock the door, and
Yeah.
she didn't.
No,
Yeah.
she just sat there. Was
Like,
just like,
what?
what? So finally she gets up, and that's when the thing
Yeah.
bursts in. So she gets over to the vials of liquid, throws one on it, and this one, and the monster's just like, oh, hell no. How dare you? Because, this bony skull thing pops up out of it, right when she does it, and that's basically it for her.
Yeah. And Cal, meanwhile, is like, fuck this shit. That's my lady.
Yeah.
And
She's going to be mine.
Yeah.
We met an hour ago.
She's the only woman who's
so
not
he takes off with his
ferociously angry at me right now.
He takes off with his tiny little space pistol and is
Crawls around
crawling
for a
through
while.
the tubes. And it's weird because like they're, I mean I guess whatever space monster, goo monster can go fast, but it's just it seems like whenever the humans are traveling through these tubes, it takes forever for
Yeah.
them to get somewhere. And then there's a scene earlier, or maybe it's later, where they're watching the monster move around, and it's just like. Boop. It's just
Yeah.
like immediately moves from one end of the ship to
Yeah.
the other. So I have no idea how big this thing is. But
Yeah. But
anyway,
Cal makes his way there.
he's like right outside the door. I don't think he ever actually gets in there.
No,
does he?
because the dot goes away on the board.
Well, they're watching it, and the dot just goes.
yeah, it
and
just
they're like,
dissipates.
She's gone,
Well,
but they have no way
he
to tell
gets
him
in
that.
and they can't. He
he-
can't find it, but
Yeah.
he finds her mummified, weird-looking body again.
and they do this weird like intercut her dead body before he discovers it into the film. It's very strange.
Yeah, there's a
It's-
flash of it.
yeah, but it happens like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
because he's in the room, and there's a flash of the body, and then he's like, you kind of see the thing in the grate in the wall, and he shoots it a couple times, and
Yeah, and what they do through this scene is they keep intercutting between the people watching the dot to him trying to do it, and it's like, yeah, we saw Alien.
they watch the dots a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of dot watching.
there's a
in
better
this.
way to do this scene.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah,
But so they cut back and forth between them, and he shoots, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here," and he's trying to crawl his way back, and eventually, I don't even know what happens to the gun. The gun just vanishes.
It's gone. He drops it or something.
Yeah,
but
he eventually gets grabbed.
Yeah.
and they're watching the dots get closer and closer, and then
yeah, but the dude's kind of like, I'm gonna blast it out of space, and she's like, no, but he's still there, and then they like watch the dot go away, and they're like, oh no, he's gone. Let's blast it out in space.
I think.
well, no, at first
I think
she
he just did it anyway.
yeah, he does it even though she doesn't want him to.
Okay.
And then she goes, "Hey, it worked. There's only one dot." And it's like, I don't like. Is she colorblind?
Yeah.
I don't think there's red white
It's like,
colorblindness.
do you see the white dot? That's not
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
He's the red dot, and he's gone. So yeah, we're 30 minutes into this movie, and we're down to 2 characters, and that's it for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just these 2.
and then the
Sort of.
dot, they realize that the dot can still move, and
Mm-hmm.
it's coming towards their door, and they run and lock that.
Because there are 5 doors into this room.
There are 4 doors.
This is the dumbest designed ship I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's just all doors lead to the control room.
Yep.
and they're as spread out as they could possibly be. So you have to run all over the place, turn this wheel that's not attached to anything, and hit the dumb code on the touch panel, and the door will lock.
Yep.
I mean, I think the idea was you don't have to use the wheel. The wheel was like a manual lock.
I don't know.
Because otherwise they were just walking up and you know.
They
The
seem to
backup
just
wheel.
randomly spin the wheel whenever they want to make it look like they're doing something in space.
No Amy's, no Amy's, stop.
Yeah.
Yep. So this begins the section where they are just straight up locked in.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it can't get in here.
Yeah,
and we cut the air out there, and
Let's go take a nap.
yeah.
Because this is the part, like, he falls, like, apparently it's weird, because on the map where we saw the little dots all the time, there's something that says quarters.
Yep.
But apparently there's, like, a little captain's quarters off this room.
Yes.
Because they're in there, and he's, like, asleep, and she's just looking out of the starfield. And this is the line where I was like, it's probably a good thing she wasn't made captain, because she's looking out, and she goes, I used to lay up at night and look up at the sky, and I used to wonder, did anybody live on any of these stars out there?
Nope. They didn't. No one lives on stars.
Nope. they do not.
I'm sorry, honey, you can't live on a star.
Yeah, no,
You'll
geez.
die.
It's
Yeah.
really, really hot.
only
Yeah.
the people that can survive like 4.5 billion degrees.
Maybe if they stay on the night side of the star.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's probably a lot cooler.
But he's just sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she kind of looks over him like, oh, God.
Yeah.
But they're super chummy at this point now. They've flipped the switch on being angry at each other.
Yeah, but while they're asleep, suddenly, oxygen, getting air supply going away.
Air supply is turned off.
Yep. There's no mood music. Yeah, and it's going down, and he just somehow wakes up in the middle of this.
Well, the computer is making a noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he hears. She does not.
Yeah.
Well, he's a computer expert.
Oh,
Chuck.
oh, that's right. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's why he's the captain.
Yep. But he goes out there and he's like, well, what who,
Yeah.
who shut the air off? And it's like, you did.
You did.
45 minutes ago.
It's like, no, I wouldn't have done that.
I have some weird dreams, but not that weird.
Computer's like, oh, well.
Yeah. It's like,
Totally happened.
deal
So he's
with
like,
it.
he's like, look, disengage all the terminals except this one. He's like, can't do that, Dave. Roger. Yeah, but that's just established. Okay, the star crystal is
Yeah,
somehow telling the computer what to do.
Well, and he says like you shut down everything out, like no more terminals, just up here. And then as soon as he does that, he goes, "How do I know that's what it wanted me to do?"
Right. Yeah, he shuts it all down and turns the air back on, and then he says, I'm playing right into its hands or something. It's like, no, dude, you're not dying. That's what
Yeah.
you're doing. Who cares if
preserving
that's
your
the
own
plan?
life. Yeah.
You're not going to die yet. So,
No.
yeah. But so, like, all throughout, like, this and the rest of the movie, it will cut back to the star crystal, which is just gleaming and pulsating, and then cut to some weird carpet blobby thing that is just pulsating
And you kind of see an eye.
yeah, and it's like gasping and slurping and just making gross noises.
It's also like almost talking because it's like listening to the intercom and
Yeah.
other stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
like trying to make noises.
It's just making noises, but it's mostly just grotesque, like slurping
yeah.
noises.
But I mean, every once in a while, it's like,
Yeah.
like a vocal cord sound of
Yeah.
some sort.
yeah,
But
none
yeah.
of it's working. So there's a lot of shots of that.
Yeah.
So they're just drifting along, and like they're getting sweatier and more tired, and I guess more hungry because they're locked in this room.
Well, at one point they just pass out on the floor, and then it
yeah.
cuts to like 2 days later,
Yeah.
and they're just like we're so just what do we do? And he just kind of gets up and is just like, I'm gonna take care of it. And you think it's like, I'm gonna go fight this thing. That you think that like he's just like, fuck this. I'm gonna battle this thing and we're
Yeah.
gonna be out of here.
Well, didn't they make contact before all that happened?
Yeah, there's a ship that flies by at some
Yeah.
point
Yeah,
and
that-
tries to radio them, but their intercom isn't working.
Right.
And he realizes that the creature is
Yeah.
controlling the intercom. But I love the intercom voice of the other guy on the other end.
Hey, this is SC-45.
We got you on our
We're
radar.
about 40,000 space feet.
Notice we're both going towards Alpha 7.
7. Can't hear you, buddy. So if you're all right, just go ahead and make a 30-degree right turn, and we'll just keep on going. all right.
The star crystal makes the turn, and then the thing's like, well,
Really, it's a roll. It's a 30-degree roll.
well,
yeah.
and he's just like, well, all right, looks like everything's hunky dory over there on your ship. We're gonna keep on rocking. You keep on rocking.
Keep on space trucking.
And he gets so pissed. He's like,
He loses
God!
his mind.
He's like,
Yeah.
fucking monster.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
This is when he kicks the wall like 2
Yeah.
times. And
Oh, man, he goes into a
well, he
rage.
kicks the wall like 2 times, and then he goes into like.
But he doesn't kick the wall. He like high kicks at the highest point of the wall he can reach.
Because like he also smacks the
He goes
area
in-
above the door,
He
but
does
you can
full
tell
on Kevin Bacon like
Yeah.
Footloose, like
Yeah.
I'm angry.
but you can tell he realizes that he's probably going to break it if
Yeah.
he hits it too hard.
Yeah.
So he gets in this pose and then he's like tap.
Yep. And then she's like, "What's wrong?" Yeah, but man, he was raging out for a good 30 seconds or so, and then
Yeah.
it's just like,
And
he's
they're
like,
also-
enough of this.
Yeah, they're also trying to figure out what it does, and they find the old laser cassette, or what did they call it? Laser tapes.
Laser tape.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, laser card.
The old laser card
Yes.
of the expedition.
I'm marking
Which
it down
is-
because 2032, when laser card is the de facto media
Yeah.
standard, we will all feel real dumb.
Well, she asks him about it, and he's like, "We didn't find it." And then they cut to her, like at a console, is like, "What does this video laser do?" And he's like, "It won't be there. That's
Yeah,
stupid."
they would have tried that already.
And she's like, "Well, how do you turn it on?" He's like, "I hit the blue button, but nothing's there." And she hits the blue button. She's like, "There
Yeah.
it is."
And it's the
right
two
there.
dumbasses from the beginning, and they just toss this rock back and forth.
Well, they're tossing
and-
the space football.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah,
But they were the first people to play football on Mars.
They also planted the tiniest little dollar store American flags.
they
Yes.
did, and kind of
Two of
high
them.
five each other.
And then, yes, they pull out what I can only assume is like a Mylar balloon football because they're on Earth, obviously in Arizona, most likely, and tossing this, but they're like trying to make it look like low gravity.
Yeah, so it's
So-
like weird floaty thing.
But then it's like obviously the wind catches it every
Yeah.
once in a while because it'll just totally miss the person.
yeah,
it's-
it's weird.
It's fucking glorious.
yeah,
is what
but
it
she's
is.
like,
It's a good effect.
yeah. She's basically like, "Do we have to watch 25 hours of this?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll fast forward." And then it becomes fucking vaudeville silent movie, complete with goofy piano music.
Yeah, apparently there's like there's like play, pause, and Benny's. It's like
So it's just them playing
he'll fast forward.
football and fast forward with this stupid ass music on it. It's like, how much did you fucking record of them playing football on Mars?
25 hours worth.
Yeah.
Apparently.
But eventually they get to like the 4 seconds of, oh look, they found a thing.
Yeah, and basically all she says is that their computers found that it learned very quickly, and they didn't know what its maturity would be, but it was going to be super fucking smart.
They come to a lot of information that's seems like maybe someone on the ship did a lot of research, but from what we saw, it was they found the thing, they told the doctor about it, the captain came in and said, "Get your ass to the bridge," and then it turned off the air supply and everybody died. So I don't know when all this research was done.
Yeah.
All right, here's. I mean, I don't want to be one of those guys to like point out, but with rules of cinema, there are rules similar to grammar. And if you're going to establish that between scenes where time passes, you're going to have a title card pop up and say it's 2 days later, 2 months later, you have to do it every time.
Yes.
That's your biggest rule.
Absolutely.
Like it's just like if you're going to Oxford comma, you have to Oxford comma for the rest of what you're writing.
Yes.
You know, and that's the problem is
That's
that
why
we
you
can-
never give up on the Oxford comma.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about it. But so like because they established it earlier that like we have these title cards pops up, it's like it is assumed that it was immediately
Yeah.
after this thing bursting out of its first shell. But no, it's like they saw it. They literally probably had the movie Life happen.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
and we're like, yeah, this thing's smart and holy shit, it can run mazes faster than an ape of the same age can do, and blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And then it grew up and.
But
killed
yeah,
them
so they have all this information that they shouldn't have, but they have it. It just to speed things along. They found all the information. They have it now. But at some point, he just freaks out and is just like, "I'm tired of this. I'm going." And she's like, "No, don't." And he's like, "I have to." Because they've like bungee corded all of the emergency wheels of the 8 doors into the control room together. And he's just like, "I got to go take care of this." And so he just ventures off into the tubes. And you're like, okay, he's going to go fight the thing or something. But no, he just goes and gets the sandwiches. the tray of sandwiches and comes back, and he's just like, I got some soup here.
No. He launches into a fucking.
He launches a mission for the sandwiches.
No. He launches into like Nick Kroll on Broadway weird bullshit speech. Like he goes in this weird fucking thing of like my great grandfather.
Well, his name is Campbell.
Yeah, he's like.
So he's like Campbell soup.
Yeah, he's like. Yeah, he started the soup business and he lost it in a poker hand and we didn't get anything and I'm doing a weird character.
He is doing a character for some reason. I'm surprised like the lights don't dim and like one pops up under his chin or something. It's a weird story he's telling and you're like, what's happening? Who is he now?
And the only thing that makes it, his literal and scene is that they get struck by, or no, they get a proximity warning that there's a. No, I'm sorry. It's their guy. The other guy calls him. That's what it is.
Hey, like, we're still hanging out here.
Hey, buddy, we're still kind of following you, and you got a major emergency on your 12 o'clock meteor storm coming in. Over.
It reminds me of the guy that they. This is a dumb reference, but Red versus Blue.
Yeah.
That central command that they always call. And he's like, "Hey, how's it going, buddy?"
But yeah, so they've come to a stop for some reason. Like the ship, you see all these long. Well, they're not long shots; they're just tiny model going through space, and then going right to left, and then at one point it just stops in the middle of the screen, and they're like, "We're stopped," and that's when all these, the Dairy Queen chocolate pieces from the commercials are coming at the spaceship.
Yeah.
And, they're just basically like, well, we have no control over anything. What do we do? And they're, falling around Star Trek style.
Yeah, well, as a couple, go ding off the...
Man, so they are just throwing rocks at this model, and the rocks just bounce off as they would.
All right... Something like gravity and most modern science fiction has established that like the tiniest little article, piece of thing in space traveling at a fast enough speed is going to demolish whatever, know. And this is like giant asteroids just going plunk off this model like nothing.
Yeah. Like the ship isn't moving, but these things hit it full speed and they rapid fire off that thing.
But yes, and then like the second barrage is about to hit them and it's just kind of like, wait, what happened?
Yeah. Hey, Bernice,
and when we saw a shot outside, it's not. I thought it was just bad lighting on the model, but it turns out that Star Crystal goo monster made a force field somehow.
Yep.
And he's apparently there are force fields in 2032 in this reality, and he's like, but
this
these
thing
shuttlecrafts don't have force fields, right?
And she's like, right,
right.
Yeah. But they're fine, and the other ship's like, well, you did good. We'll be leaving you again.
Good job not getting dead.
Bye.
Okay, good buddy. See you later.
Dip your wings if you're okay. Bye. Yeah, so they're like, well, that's weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go back to bed.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is like after they survived the meteor storm.
Yeah.
I believe is when... they did their like dreary like we're dead when he was like fuck it I'm gonna go get sandwiches. Yeah, had his old moment. So what the hell happens next? Is it like there he's just like doesn't he like get a murder boner? He's like
he finally decides like
I got the world's tiniest blowtorch. I'm gonna hunt this thing down.
Let's do this.
It's basically a cigarette lighter.
So there's been they had one more scene in the space bunk where they're just cuddling up together. And then while they're doing that, there's a scene of the Star Crystal goopy monster accessing the computer.
That's right.
And it just starts accessing the records, and they get kind of a notification like, oh, it's accessing the computer
history
records.
Of humankind,
right.
Parts 1 through 20.
Right, and it picks like part 5, which is 10,000 BC to 500 AD, and it just starts selecting weird things, and it's just like Christianity and then New Testament.
No. It's like it picks that time period and then it's like, what do you want? Like what section? And it's like religion.
Yeah.
And it goes Middle East.
Yes.
Then religion.
Yes.
And then what section? And as you pointed out, I believe.
Well, now that you say the timeline, it makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have like Judaism and Christianity.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, what about Islam?
Yeah.
But Islam didn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
For another 300 years after that.
Yeah. So good detail.
So they
movie.
actually got it right.
Okay.
Good job.
We'll give them that.
I got it wrong on first watch. I was like, wait a minute.
Sure.
Yeah.
It does seem a little weird just given the period in the area. But all this really serves is that the computer's like, becomes the random quote monster of Bible quotes. It's just like, here's random Bible
Here's
quote.
3 random Bible quotes.
It's basically 3 ones that are like the golden rule, more or less. Like, hey, if you don't want people to be shitbirds to you, don't be a shitbird to them.
Yep.
You know, like it says in the King James version.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
that's the literal translation.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah. That was a red text, by the way, too. Yeah.
Don't be shitbirds. Yeah. So okay, this thing has just gotten a load of 3 random Bible quotes.
It's learned the golden rule.
It has. Yeah.
And he's making his way back there, and she wakes up and is like, "Oh no, are you doing this?" Well, she woke up and he's kind of said goodbye, and he's like, "Listen, fuck it. Gonna make this happen. Don't open the door unless you hear my voice, and that's it.
That's it. Nothing else."
And so she's watching the monitor, and then he's like, "Oh shit, he's in the room with you."
Yeah.
And he bangs his little cigarette lighter thing and drops it.
Yes.
And then is like,
yeah, when she says it's behind you, as he whips around, he smashes it on a table, and it's just like, well, that thing's fucked.
yeah.
Good job, guy.
And then he makes a dive for the star crystal that's on the table.
Yes. And then space freeze.
And gets a space freeze.
Yeah, and you can't really tell that that's what he's doing because he just kind of stops. There's no like indication that something has frozen him. But so there's just a lot of him, close-ups of him looking at the star crystal with his hand reached out towards it. And so then the slurpy blobby thing kind of presents itself, just like, I'm here now and I can speak English.
Yeah. And it's kind of doing like the Yoda dying voice almost.
It's whisper grunting.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to understand.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean,
it's a little bit garbled, but
you really, because they're doing like a layer of an effect over the voice, but it's still just like the director off camera just talking, and so it's like it's just whisper growling. It's strange, but yeah, it's just basically like, hey,
yeah, it's like I need your ship.
I need that, and I need your ship, and he's just like, okay, but are you gonna kill me? And the monster's like, no.
Well, he's basically like, you killed all our friends, and it's like, that was self-defense.
I had to. One
They
threw
were coming.
acid on me.
Yeah,
They
and
were
it's kind of
coming
like
right for me.
Yeah, he says one hit me with the wrench, the other one shot at me.
Doesn't really
I was
justify.
standing my ground.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
justify why it killed Billy.
It also doesn't justify why he killed the entire fucking other ship.
Yeah, no.
So fuck your self-defense stuff, buddy.
Yeah, but that's basically the defense it uses, and
she has, in the meantime, has opened up the ration kit or whatever and found a knife
yeah, she went through all the food and the soups.
and is sneaking up on him and about to stab him in the head.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unclear what happens because like he jumps at it and is like, ah!
Yeah.
And then the knife gets knocked away, and
Yeah.
then they're both. It's basically both. It freezes both of them.
They're flung against a wall, basically. This movie will just get to sections where it'll just rapid cut a bunch of stuff, and you're like, what? And then you just kind of have to piece together whatever it is that happened.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if he was trying to like stop her from killing it because it had kind of brokered a little peace with him,
Yeah.
or if he was like, all right, well, fuck it, we're killing this thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
But
Either way, it doesn't succeed.
no.
But they learn that its name is Gar,
Yes.
and that
I am Gar.
and it has not decided whether it's going to kill them or not.
Yeah. I need your ship. Yeah.
Spot on Gar imitation.
Your Gar sounds like he's like mid-orgasm.
This thing kind of was the whole time. Was just,
It's very gooey.
yeah. And then so they come to an arrangement where it's like, let's all go back. We'll go to the first supply depot that you guys were heading towards, and we'll just work it out from there.
Yeah, and it asks Bernice, like they asked Bernice, like, okay, well, how far delayed was the other ship? And it's like by the meteor storm.
Yeah.
Or he asks it, and then the Gar has to tell Bernice to answer him.
Yes.
Right.
Because Gar has taken over.
I'm not allowed to answer you.
Yeah. But they find out that, okay, it's another few days. And they said, well, they'll take them there, and they'll wait until the ship comes by, and then they can, I guess, launch them at it or something.
I don't know, man.
It didn't quite make sense.
Gravity assist.
Yeah. But so this becomes the weirdest fucking thing because it is just a montage
takes a hard turn
of like so Roger Campbell is fixing stuff and then you will just see Gar slide into the shot like, hey buddy, what are you doing? And he's like, get out of here, Gar. And then Gar will like make a tool float in the air near him and he's just like, oh you
Gar. You can.
Talk like about my playing the Odd Couple music right
yes,
about then.
Absolutely.
Dun, 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 dun.
And they're like playing Space Parcheesi or something. And
I think they're playing Chinese checkers.
No, it's
Othello.
Go.
Oh, they're playing Go.
Play Go. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're doing that, and Campbell's yelling at it like, "It's not your turn." And he's like, "You took your hand off the piece."
And then it goes, "Why are you such a jerk?"
No, he asked the lady, he's like,
Yes.
why is he such a jerk?
Such a jerk. It's like, what the fuck? This thing was murdering people 45 minutes ago.
It was self-defense.
And now it's fucking Alf.
I've given my life up to the Lord.
Well, Alf was steadily murdering cats.
Yeah, well,
And
I
we still
know,
liked Alf.
But this is the weirdest turn.
It's so great.
And then they get to the supply depot, and they're just like, so, Gar, can you subsist on these K rations or whatever? And it's like, I'll do my best. And it's
It should be enough. You go. Don't turn around. I love you.
don't say goodbye. Just say until next time.
I'm just a Gar asking a human if he loves me.
God, and there's one. So they get to basically Gar takes the shuttle, and you just see Gar it's on a little perch looking out the window, just pulsating, looking out the window, and you just see it go away. And then the song starts to play, and you're like, what?
And it's Crystal of the Stars.
It's- man. And there's just like 3 or 4 more shots of just them departing and parting ways.
And there's one of Gar just looking out the window
Yeah.
at their ship going
And then
away.
one of them sort of side hugging while they're watching the ship start to go towards Earth. Which, by the way, it's established it's not a sure thing that they're not going to crash land and die.
Yeah.
Even though if you have technology that has force fields, couldn't you just put yourself in orbit and like think that someone's going to see
Gar
you?
was the force. Gar did the force field.
But there were force fields on other ships.
Yes.
I'm saying if they weren't like, what the fuck's a force field? You know, like,
Oh yeah.
you'd think that like SETI or whomever would be like, hey, there's a ship just circling around the Earth. Maybe it's derelict and we should get them.
Yeah.
Of course,
Maybe.
Bernice said that she might be able to program something to slow them down for re-entry. So
It still sounded like they were coming in for a crash landing at best.
Yeah. That was the whole reason he went down to the engine room to begin with, because he had to hit the space brakes because they were just gonna collide straight into the supply depot if they didn't hit the brakes, and they couldn't apply the brakes from the bridge, which is the dumbest fucking design. If you can't from the bridge order the brakes, whatever.
From the engine room, you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, they also broke their rules of inertia and perpetual motion earlier
yes,
in the movie because like their engines went out and they just
yes, they just skidded to a stop. Yeah. But yeah,
we go out on Stargrove.
yes,
Yeah.
the Crystal of a Star plays while the movie has taken this last weird 5-minute turn of now they've got a cute, adorable murder alien as their buddy, and they play
Yeah.
space checkers together, and then that's it.
Yeah, the giant glowing testicle thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Wow.
We all learned something that day.
Hmm?
I don't know what it was, but we all learned something that day.
if a translucent testicle that looks like ET comes after you, don't hit it with a wrench. That's your.
That's
lesson.
a good. That's okay. So someone clarify
Nor
for
throw
me.
acid.
Someone explain what happened at the end as far as who ended up where.
Gar ended up in Alpha 7, the supply depot. He said, I can convert it into a ship.
So we never know if that he's just hanging out
He
on
might
the
have-
stationary thing.
He
Possibly.
Gar sacrificed himself for those two.
Also,
Told them a
No, he
lie.
didn't.
He told
Also,
them a
he
lie
doesn't-
so that they would go on without him because they wouldn't leave him. They would never leave Gar.
No, Gar, don't go.
They could have all gone.
He just slumps over
Gar
on
had
his
to go-
horse at the end.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. Did Gar make it? No, Gar didn't
No,
make it.
Gar
Went to the
teleported
Gar-
to his home planet,
Gar
but he died on the
Gar-
way.
Gar died on the way to his home planet. That's what happened.
He bought the space garm.
He got poached.
Okay, well, whatever. That movie's over. It gets a Stargrove.
Yes.
It does.
Um,
Man, we haven't had a Stargrove in a while.
it has been kind of a while.
It's been an age.
Does anyone reach full on ensign?
Nutrition Lady almost did, but they
Yeah.
shut that shit down quick.
Yeah. He almost did too when he got pissed off about.
But I mean, that's not
The
necessarily
30-degree
ensigning
turn.
because ensigning is
He wasn't
not dealing with
freaking
the
out.
situation.
He was
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah.
And he had to stop because he was going to destroy the set.
That's true. He was
Yeah,
going to strike
yeah.
the set.
No,
literally.
two good freakouts, but no.
Yeah, and she goes catatonic after the one,
Yeah,
but
true.
that's not really what we want in an
Yeah.
ensign.
No.
Not really.
No, that's bad.
Everyone is definitely on a interesting level of edge, but
Yeah.
not to the quite full on ensign level.
No.
All right, I concur. Just
Okay.
checking.
All right. Good.
Just making sure.
So
So,
Guess we rate them.
we
Rate it
have
now.
to rate this.
Yeah, we do.
Weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah. This is one of those movies that, like, they are committed. They're committed as shit to this movie.
Yep.
And they fall way short of what they were trying to do. But boy, is it interesting on the way. The model for the ship was really good. I know I keep bringing that up whenever we have a good model, but I've been watching too much shit on model making and prop building to not for it not to just jump out at me. That model was really good. The space station was garbage.
Yeah,
I think because they knew they were going to blow it the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it had one of those space station outer rings, but it was like obviously PVC joints.
Yeah. It was just like a toilet paper tube in the middle of it.
Right. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But the ships were good, and Alpha 7 was a nice little outpost.
Sure.
I think I'm going to give this movie 3 jocks. Like I said, they were just all in on this dumb shit. And it was a lot of fun for that. I don't have much else to say other than that. It is garbage. But it's earnest garbage at least, and you can tell they made it for, somewhere between $9 and $49. But everybody was into it. And so I'm into it. 3 jocks. Good job.
Yeah. Man, so this thing was playing out, and we were having a fucking blast watching this. We have not had a movie.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Like when there's a movie that's garbage, literally, like this, it's a trash movie. It's not a good film, but it's one of those movies that lends itself to having a lot of fun with it. It gives you that kind of bad acting. It's got kind of goofy special effects and reactions, and it just like everything about it is just off. It's like the people making it have seen a movie, but haven't like necessarily figured out like human interaction.
They know what they like. They just have no idea how to get there.
Right. So I was sitting at 2 jocks the entire time because I was like, man, this is terrible, but we're having so much fun with it. And then the last 5 minutes happened, and I'm like, man, what on earth is happening here?
Not on Earth, man. It's in space.
So I bumped that sucker up to 3 jocks because the last 5 minutes of this thing where they just make friends with this murder creature and are just because it read 3 various quotes from the Bible that said do unto others, and it was like, yeah, okay, that sounds all right. And then it did that, and then they were like, yeah, we should probably go along with this weird goopy aliens plan. It's one of those movies where I would say you have to see it to believe it. Like, describing it doesn't do it justice.
Not really.
Like, we're describing something. You're probably piecing together in your head this kind of nifty sci-fi adventure thing. No, it is not that.
well, and even showing clips of it wouldn't give you the
No.
like it's so much more than the sum of its parts.
But I mean, like the scene where he went to go get the sandwiches, he had to like pull a respirator thing out of a first aid kit or something. That's just this stupid mask with a bag on it. It's literally nothing.
Well, it had a little cartridge on the side.
Yeah, but he is just hyperventilating into this thing, and then we were making Blue Velvet jokes. How is that possible? I mean,
You were making Blue Velvet jokes, and I appreciate
We
it.
were all laughing at the Blue Velvet show.
because he is just freaking out and just breathing into this thing. He's just, don't fucking look at me. You know, I mean, the movie gave us an opportunity to make that joke, and I appreciate that. So I'm with BJ. 3 jobs.
There's some little weird stuff that I love.
Yeah.
Like that med kit was some like little.
It was a weird tackle box thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like this weird roll-up tackle box thing, and like
but it was this weird hexagon metal thing
Yeah,
that
it's
just
hexagon,
unfolded into a million compartments.
and I don't know if that's a real med kit somewhere or a real box or how they found it. Like
Well, it was really practical on a spaceship, but
yeah, well I don't know. It looks great.
yeah, sure.
It looks great, and you're like, oh, that's futuristic kind of shit. Good, great, I
Good
love
on
it.
Who's going first?
You can go ahead.
Third
All right.
base.
So I kind of was fully expecting to blow your minds with my rating. I am very, very close to giving this a 5 jocks,
Wow.
but I'm not. I'm going to give it 4 jocks.
Oh.
And like I fucking love this, but there's still like there's something. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I think the thing keeping it from a 5 jocks for me is that it's not our typical version of a 5 jocks movie at all. Like this movie has almost normal dialogue, occasionally punctuated, but like suddenly they were given directions by Tommy Wiseau. You know, like I mean, it's really bizarre because like they're just talking normally, and then it's like, hey, react completely unnaturally and loudly and large, and it's like they just come in waves, and it's kind of glorious to me. And there is something about this movie. I think we've talked about this before, that there is something gloriously fun to watch about a movie that feels like an actual alien came in and witnessed human behavior, and we're like, got it.
Yep.
I'm going to put that on film.
Yep.
And this one does it almost better than, does better than like a lot of them we've seen in a long time. And I think we've almost watched too many almost good movies for a while.
Yeah.
Like competently made movies. And something about like just the return to this and this one, I'm like, fuck yes. Like, I loved it. But there is just something keeping me away from the 1 jocks. And the weird hippie pseudo Christian ending thing is fucking weird and amazing at the same time. I don't know. Like,
It's like that part in the apple with all the like.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, when shit like that happens, you're like, huh?
Yeah. It's like, oh
What
man.
am I? What? Where? Who? How did they make that turn?
Yeah, I basically went, oh, this was written by Roger Moore, or Ronald D. Moore. Yeah, no, not Roger Moore.
Yeah, no.
Big difference.
Yes.
Ronald Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of what you're saying,
Okay.
except I don't have those reservations because I'm giving this 5 jocks. This is...
All right.
It's honestly, it really is everything that I want. And like, you've got just the incompetent acting throughout, and the music is just like off through the entire thing. Like, it's just not right ever. And what?
Sorry, continue.
No.
I'm just blown away at how sometimes a movie gets it wrong in all the right ways, despite, like, if you put it on paper, all the things that we love about this movie, it's trash, and you would give this movie 2 bags.
Well, and I think too, if we had watched this separately, like if we'd watched this, any of us had watched this solo, we would have been like, "Man, fuck that movie. We can't watch it on the podcast."
I don't know.
There's a group think to some of these movies where it's just like, as soon as that first joke pops out in the theater, you're like, "Oh, all right, this is going to be that kind of get your jokes ready," and then it just kept giving you opportunities for it.
Yes.
Like if I'd watched this alone, I would have been like, Air Supply, but I wouldn't have kept making Air Supply jokes throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, but there's something throughout that just works for me and doesn't stop working. And then it's kind of like AI. The movie should end, but it doesn't. And it's like, here's your fourth act. What the fuck is going on? And there's something glorious about that, where like it's like this glowing testicle monster becomes Space Jesus for them. You know, it's like, wait, what?
I will sacrifice myself
like,
for you.
I mean, it's playing fucking board games with them. This alien that had been murdering everything 30 minutes earlier.
Yep. It becomes a lovable sidekick.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, there's some movies that just they hit my bad movie sweet tooth, whatever it is. Like, it's just they figured out that one thing that's like, yes, this is it. You know, like Elves. I know everyone else hated Elves. I know Chuck kind of changed his mind on it.
I
but
regret.
Elves had the same reaction from me, where I was just like, everything is just so fucking insane
Yeah.
that it totally works for me. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was just all the anger that they all had towards each other in the beginning. And
hated each other.
And then having to flip the switch, and then something like she has to be like nice to him because they're the only two people left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's great. It is great. It is so terrible and so great. And I have no idea how to rate it on Letterboxd. I have no idea what kind of rating I would give this.
Yeah, in the real world,
in
I
the
don't
real
know.
world. But I know here, this fucking thing gets 5 jocks.
It's probably a 1-star movie on like a real
Yeah,
review.
it's the 1 star with the heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
okay.
this 1-star movie.
Yeah, it's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're in.
There you go. Cut print. Break? Break time?
Yeah.
We don't do anything else in the first half, right?
Nope, we don't.
No.
Enjoyable
Nah.
bad movies, 1 to 5 jocks and robot jogs.
Yep, that's all.
Second half we do the other stuff.
Right.
So break time.
Yeah. So speaking of the second half,
This podcast is brought to you by MyUndies. Not MeUndies, but by my actual underwear.
Why? Oh, okay. Phew.
and they brought you here.
Thought you were gonna say
guess.
something like,
I pooped
they're,
my
they're
pants."
coming off. Rip.
I have one movie for the second
I like
half.
that we both have the same image
Yeah.
of how you
Yes.
take underwear off. You just rip them out, twirl them over your head, and
Yeah, it's like the ladies' bra trick, except you just rip. I have one movie also.
I have no movies, but maybe TV if there's time.
Okay.
I have TV, but
okay.
it's just 5 seasons of Game of Thrones stuffed into
Jesus.
like a week.
How is that even a coherent thought at this point?
Boobs and swords and dragons.
I'm the best at watching TV.
Are you?
Yes.
Thanks.
I watched an entire thing, but it was much shorter than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Is it a British show?
No.
Oh. Okay.
It's, in fact, as completely opposite as it could possibly be.
All right.
It's an American show.
Oh, that is
well. Then.
that is really opposite.
Yeah. It's so American it has it in the title.
Oh,
So
I've got a flag in my bag.
you got a flag in your bag.
he's got a flag in his bag.
Flag in my bag.
Oh. So you claimed your bag?
What?
You claimed your bag with the flag?
Yeah. I decided instead of a patch.
You could have put a tag on your bag instead of a flag.
Yeah, you hag.
Shut up, you
Nope.
fart knocker.
There it is. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, we'll see if we have time for email. We have too many to do in one episode anyway.
Okay.
So
Well, this first review of Star Crystal that came up on Letterboxd gave it 5 stars.
Somebody knows what's up.
yeah, that person knows what the fuck they talk.
Oh, there are
about.
lots of high ratings for
Yeah.
Star Crystal. This is
Yeah, there's only like 112 people I think that have watched it.
well, the reviews are pretty positive.
Also check, that's not going in the pile.
Hmm?
That's not going in the pile.
What do you mean?
The giveaway pile.
Keeping it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. You're fine. Buy your own Kino Lorber.
What
Kino Lorber.
you know, what extras were on there?
None.
Was it just the trailer?
Just those
May,
trailers.
may I?
Yeah.
I want to touch.
There's no director commentary from Lance Lindsay.
No.
What?
Faye Bolt didn't have a lot to say about her role as Doctor Lady,
Faye
Lady Doctor.
Bolt.
I prefer Laura Crossbow.
There was a point, like 30 minutes into this movie, where I was like, this movie's on Blu-ray. Like, think of how many
I know
major Hollywood films are not on Blu-ray, but fucking Star Crystal's on Blu-ray. And then when it was over, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, Star Crystal's on Blu-ray. Goddamn right.
Yeah. Man, we didn't even mention that the poster is just a fucking abomination.
Every
of
poster
lies.
is lies. Every poster. All of them are wrong.
Mm-hmm. Is this one of those cool reversible cases? Oh, I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Let's see what that other cover looks like.
All right.
Better. At least it's not a complete and outright lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, there's no teeth monster and people in sleep pods, which never happened.
That's right.
So, yeah.
The poster is a lie because nobody will let you put it in test.
This is a reversible Blu-ray. I swapped it, so maybe it's a little better now. Or the reversible case thing.
That's what they call you, the swapper.
Yeah, that one's all right. That poster's okay. I mean, it doesn't lie to you.
Right. Yeah.
It's more boring, but it doesn't lie to you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Man,
Ain't my phone.
I kind of can't get
Way
over
back
that
there.
fucking movie.
It's been a while since we've had one of these that are, like, glorious in this way.
It's the only reason I wanted to go last, because I wanted to see if anybody else was willing to go 5.
Thought about it.
Because I know what happens if one of us jumps in with a 5. It kind of like
Everyone.
pushes everyone to 5, and I wasn't quite sure you guys were feeling it or not.
I knew I wasn't at a 5.
I wasn't
yeah.
going to jump to 5.
I was wrestling, so if you'd gone before me, I might have changed. I might have.
There may be a timeline where I gave this a 4, but
I went back and forth on that a lot.
But see, what that means is you got your true rating out.
Yeah, like I said, I can't put my finger on what's keeping
Yeah.
it from a 5 for me.
But then there's stuff like Super Fights, where I was like, 5 jocks. We all fucking know this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
there's no way this isn't 5 jocks for everybody.
10 minutes into Super Fights, we
Yeah.
were all like, fuck yeah, 5 jocks. Let's watch how the
Yeah.
rest of this
Remember
goes.
that shit.
That's a file.
Oh, we had to file that?
There is no release of Super Fights.
Oh.
There might have been a DVD, but I guarantee you it was out of print. That's why we didn't have it. I would watch Super Fights again.
Yeah, Super Fighters. Fighting and a super. So,
There are a lot of unironic high star ratings for Star Crystal on Letterboxd, so
these people are our people. They get it.
yeah. So
Guess who gets to call Comcast again?
That's me. Is it out?
It's fucking fluctuating all over the place.
Gosh
has it
darn
been
it.
doing that the whole time or just now?
It dropped some frames. I mean, I noticed it one other time, and it got good again for a few minutes.
good, get good.
Then it got shitty again.
Aw.
Well, how is everyone out in Livestreamland, finding the podcast? Does
the
it
old
look-
live
There's
stream.
people still typing. Mine, it's just spinning. It won't load up.
Yeah, I mean, we're back full strength now, but
Okay. Well, then I'm going to hit reload. Reload.
Reload.
I honestly, I got to where I stopped looking at that because it was going good for a
Well,
while.
yeah,
I-
you got upgraded internet.
I glanced at the chat, and no one ever was like, oh my god, as they do when it goes down. Which
Do they
is-
do that?
They do. They flap their hands.
Oh my God.
Ah!
I'd rather they do that than not say anything.
But like now, no one is saying anything. So what's happening?
You've drifted away from me.
like when I did, Neo for 15 minutes with my mic muted,
Yeah.
and finally somebody writes, "Is there any sound? Are you talking?" And I was like, "Ah, motherfucker."
Hey, don't worry. That happens to me like
Yeah.
every third live stream. Because I'm an idiot.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
All right, let's do
No,
this.
they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Clap.
All right, and welcome back.
Hey! Second half.
Hi.
Yep.
Hey.
We have movies and things to talk about.
We do.
We do.
Let's
we
get on
do.
with them.
Mackey's got the newest one.
Yeah. I saw The Dark Tower.
Oh.
Did you?
Yeah.
You are a person who has never read a book. I mean, that book.
That book in particular, or any of those books. But it was $5 Tuesdays, so I don't feel too bad about spending $5 on it.
Sure.
Whereas the other three of us have read the books, right?
I have not.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Books and Chuck.
I read it twice.
No, you didn't read
No, you didn't.
read
We
this
just established that you have not read. The Gunslinger.
You have not read it.
No, but you're right. I don't read it.
Nope.
Anyway,
yeah, never read the books. No, next to nothing about them. And I could follow the movie.
okay.
I understood kind of what was going on. I was a little bummed it was more about this kid Jake than it was about Idris Elba rolling the gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it's a sequel to the books, is what the wikis describe it as. But
It is.
yeah,
That is difficult to explain if you haven't read the entirety of the series. So
yeah. But anyway, it's not the abomination that everyone makes it out to be. I think those are people who've read the book and been like, "Oh my god, like, the fuck did you do?" It's more. It feels like one of those half-assed adaptations we would have gotten in like the mid '90s to the early 2000s, where it was just like from the beloved series, and then they're like, "We're just making one movie," So they just like crammed everything into one movie, and they're like, "Here, watch this,"
Right.
And it's so. I know I've used the term before. It's so aggressively average. It really is, where it's just like, we could do something cool, but nah. What'll work with audiences best? I don't know. Just middle of the road everything. Like just nothing to set it apart from anything else. And that's kind of a bummer. And McConaughey just seems like a waste in it, which is...
he isn't McConaughey around.
He does walk by a girl and do the thing at one point in the movie. And I was like, you fucking kidding me, right? Yeah, it's... I don't know. I mean, he kind of gives you the menace that you want, but I don't know. He feels like he's on autopilot. And it feels like Idris Elba is only given, like, you are this facet of a personality. You are just, like, smoldering anger and like no patience for anyone, and like that's all you are doing. Which, tell Idris Elba to do that, and he's going to do it awesome.
Yeah,
but that's about all there is to his character.
I think that's almost all there is to that character for a lot of that first book, at least.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of character growth throughout the series, but in a movie that especially has to draw in an audience, you may need to be a little bit more than single-faceted, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. But it reminded me so much of like when we're watching some movie where they're creating a fantasy world and they're just kind of, they assume that you have knowledge of that world, and it's not a bad thing. I've mentioned before, like when we do BMFcast movies, I like that, but I found myself watching it as a BMFcast movie rather than like, I'm in a theater watching a real movie type thing, and just being like, all right, yeah, I see what they're doing. Yeah, I guess they're going here. And there's an action scene in the middle that's almost incomprehensible, where like some monster just comes out of nowhere and is attacking them in an old theme park. And like, I could not even follow anything that was going on in it. I was like, okay. And then, so as far as that goes, it feels like one of those stories that like you can tell the depth was there somewhere. And it just feels like it's been whittled away because, Akiva Goldsman wrote it, which if you look at his filmography, you understand why this doesn't have anything special about it whatsoever. Yeah. And it just feels like a studio generic hack job and not a passion project for anyone, which seems weird because that first book came out in 1982, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's like he's been writing this series for 30 years. Is it done?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, the main series is done, but there are still occasionally things that connect into this world. Okay. There are like 18 other books that are connected into the Dark Tower universe.
Okay.
There's always like some weird epilogue in a book where it'll just be like, and now it's part of this, and you're like, oh.
Not even an epilogue. Like there are just like Hearts in Atlantis is directly connected.
Yeah.
Like The Stand.
The Stand is directly connected.
Dragon.
Eyes of the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
I think Tommyknockers is connected to it.
It's bizarre. Like the Matthew McConaughey character, Man in Black, Flag, Falstaff, all the names he's ever had. It's like it's all supposed to be like the same.
The Crimson King,
devil character, even worse than the devil thing. It's
and I guess I understand the meta aspect of all that, but it's just kind of it just feels like there wasn't anyone that had a solid vision of what they wanted to do with this and had the talent to make it interesting and make it stand out from anything else. So as it is, it just feels kind of like I said, one of those like mid 90s, late 2000s type things where it's just like, yeah, from the fantasy book you all loved, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know, before like Lord of the Rings kind of changed things and made people go, well, okay, let the thing breathe. Like give it multiple movies, let it breathe and tell the entire story. And this doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like one of those rush jobs that, you know, thankfully doesn't end on a cliffhanger or anything, like assuming a sequel. It leaves room for a sequel, obviously, but...
I have to wonder if this was a rights thing by this point, because for so many years and years and years, this thing was going to be like, it was going to be a movie, and then there was going to be a season of a television show, and then that would build to another movie, and then another season of a television show, and so on. And for years, there were so many people attached to this, and they kept trying to figure out how to do it, and who was going to air it, and how it was all going to work. And then it just seemed like all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're making a Dark Tower movie, and it's like 90 minutes long, and it just seems like we got to get something out, or otherwise this whole thing is dead. And there was like some hope when the cast came out. You're like, oh man, they're doing this right. And then...
Yeah, like Jackie Earle Haley is kind of like a henchman character, and you're like, man, is that all you're doing with him? Because it feels like someone like that, it should be a much bigger role than it is in the movie, where it's just kind of like, all right, okay. It's just, it's weird. It just feels like this, rush job that they're just like, all right, well, you may be right. It may be a rights thing, but it's unfortunate because it just ends up being this generic thing. And, you know, like halfway through it, my wife actually leaned over. She's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, you know what I watch every week. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's okay. You know, I almost said it was Chuck Fine, but I was like, it's not. I know everyone that listens, like Chuck Fine has a different meaning for everybody, but it's just kind of like, it's not terrible, but it's like, it's not the abomination that everyone makes it out to be, but it's not good.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there. You know, like closest thing I can think of is like Cowboys and Aliens. If you like, people barely even remember that from a few years ago.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
It's just that kind of movie where it's like, all right, well, yeah, that's it, and no one will care in 3 months. So
yeah,
did maybe want to read the books though.
Oh, I bet.
And now you can't find them anywhere
No.
because
you wanted to read it on your plane ride, your upcoming plane ride. I went to the local used bookstore, which like the local big ass confusing to walk around, you know, the ideal
but really
bookstore.
awesome to be in.
Yes,
bookstore.
Yeah. It's that bookstore that everybody loves in that city. And they normally have like a really well populated Stephen King section, and they normally have all the books. Like if you're looking for a book, you go there and it's there. But they had 0 copies of The Gunslinger, 1 copy of the second book. Wait, no copies of the second book, and then like 2 or 3 copies of the third book, and then
By the 5th book, they should have all the copies.
they did. They'd had a bunch. They had all the first editions and everything.
Yeah. But my understanding is they took chunks from different books for this one, but then they also claim it takes place afterwards, and who knows?
I can tell you, as to not give anything away, if you want to know, I can tell you a little bit more about.
I still might give them a shot because you guys regard those first few books really, really highly.
Yeah.
So
At least the first 3, arguably 4, are really, really
Wizarding Glass is probably my favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it tells it actually splits up it tells a half of the story, and then goes back in time and tells a whole lot of origin story, and then finishes off the last of the story, and that's really good stuff.
The Wastelands I really like, even though I know a lot of people hate that one, because like half the book takes place practically in one location.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre, but...
Well, all I can say is, like, if you're expecting an Idris Elba as Gunslinger movie, it's kind of not that for a long time, for long chunks of the movie.
Great.
Let's put it that way. It's more about this kid, Jake.
Jake is probably the least interesting character in the entire
Yeah, well,
there are characters that are only mentioned once on one page that are more interesting than Jake, but
well,
you know.
sorry. Mike Chambers, get used to him.
I hate to be putting all my hopes into that Castle Rock TV show, but I'm hoping that someone finally makes sense of all. There's such an amazing universe that Stephen King has created, and it's never in any way been properly utilized. Like, occasionally one movie will have like a reference to something, but it's more flavor text than anything else. It's not like a direct reference to another movie or anything, and I really hope they do it right.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that even I can see in the movie. Like, there's like a decrepit amusement park that's the Pennywise Circus when they get there, and it's like, oh, okay. You know, and there's other little things like that. Very briefly, I think there's the shot of the two twins from The Shining are in there somewhere, in the city streets in the beginning.
I think there's a Cujo in the background of the It trailer or something.
There's a Cujo.
A Cujo. Like a cupola.
I think you got a Cujo.
Oh, I think you got a Cujo.
Yeah, I got to say, like my wife, during the previews, they had the It preview. And she's read It twice, and she's like, we're not seeing that. Like, she could not even handle that trailer.
Yeah.
Like scare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, we're not doing this. I'm like, all right.
Man, was it the Discord we were talking in today where people were talking shit about the clown?
It was a few days back, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That clown is fucking scary. Tim Curry's Pennywise.
People got way too attached to the Tim Curry.
Yeah,
thanks to GIFs and
that
stuff like that.
gets scary once.
Yeah, I know. Plus, that's a TV movie. It's not.
But
It's not this.
This fucking creepy antique ass looking big toothed crackly face clown is scary as shit.
The question is does Stephen King like this adaptation of It?
Well,
I don't know.
he has been preoccupied pimping the shit out of the Dark Tower.
Well, that's what I mean.
He's pretending to love this movie.
Right? No. I think he legitimately does, because if you look at the track record, if Stephen King says I like this adaptation, it's shit for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
That's
things
true.
the things he directed, and like, I honestly think he really likes this Dark Tower. That's why I'm like,
Okay.
Does he not like this It movie? Because then it'll be good.
He hasn't really gotten on that train yet.
Okay.
I think like during pre-production stuff like that, he was signing off on things like, yeah, that clown's that, yes, but I don't know. He hasn't switched off of Dark Tower hype at this point. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, that's a good trailer.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Like the stuff with the picture slides, that's some creepy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as Dark Tower goes, my wife said I probably would have rather seen Atomic Blonde again. So
There you go.
that probably tells you all you need to know, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, speaking of aggressively average, I watched a movie.
Yeah?
I finally got to see Kong Skull Island.
Yeah? Aggressively average, huh?
Man, so
Chuck's going to rewatch this movie in like 2 years and love it.
No,
I'm going on record.
I don't think so, because I think if you take John C. Reilly out of this movie, it's almost nothing. I mean, like, the effects are impressive, but there's something wrong with it, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I can hover around some things. One, kind of like what you were saying about the Dark Tower, is that it feels like there are chunks of this movie just ripped out of it. Like, characters go from point A to point C, not geographically, but emotionally, and you're like, how did you get there? Like, when did you have that conversation? There's a ticking clock aspect to it where they got to be somewhere in 3 days, and I swear to God, they skip a day. They skip an entire day on this island filled with prehistoric creatures, and they found that wasn't interesting enough to keep in their movie. That's odd to me. There's, like, very little sense of wonder to it. Like, I couldn't help but keep comparing it to any of the Jurassic Park movies where it was just like, oh my God, look at this. Where this movie is just like, yeah, here's the thing. Isn't that weird? It's a big spider. You just be weirded out, man. Check out that big fucking spider. Weird, isn't it? Also, setting it in the 70s, this movie doesn't earn that. There's something about the... Like the time frame almost doesn't matter. No one looks like they're in the 70s. No one talks like they're in the 70s. No one acts like they're in the 70s. Everyone has modern haircuts. Everyone is kind of wearing modern clothing. The only thing that keeps it in the 70s is that no one's whipping out phones to solve their problem immediately. That's kind of it.
Well, they're also like continually talking the lady down, like, why are you here?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, they're just like, what? You're what?
Yeah.
Why? What?
Yeah, because her name is like Morris or something, and they're just like, "You're huh? What? Get out of here." Yeah, there's a. I mean, they hit you over the head with this Vietnam stuff so hard in this. There's no subtlety to it. It's just like, we didn't win, but I'm gonna win this battle against the monkey. Like, they're literally days away from removed from pulling out of Vietnam. It's just like, on your way back from losing Vietnam, let's go do this other thing. And, you know, there's war imagery in it and stuff. I feel like someone just flipped through a Time Life book and saw images that were iconic and said, duplicate that. And they have no frame of reference for what it was or what it meant or anything like that. And then they just do a bunch of modern day editing techniques that rip you out of it anyway. Super slow-mo and, you know, just speed up time, slow down time, that kind of thing.
Wow, people are still doing that?
Yeah. And I don't understand how this guy got this job. The director. I mean, you go back and look at his career up to this point, and it's just like web shows and, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't.
Episodes of You're the Worst.
Yeah. It's like, what on his resume was like, you need to do our big budget giant thing? And then I'm looking at it like, okay, well, it should be quirky and funny, but the dialogue is just this kind of surface level, like, they might as well just be repeating the words quirky dialogue over and over again instead of actually saying anything that's quirky or fun. They're just, you can tell, like, everyone just try to get their own little piece of something that might be a little quirky thing for their character, and then they hang on to it for the whole movie and just reinforce that over and over again. But it's not interesting. It's just, your character trait is that you like your mother, and you're going to scream "mommy" a lot, or something. It's just, I don't know. That movie just should have this sense of wonder to it, and it doesn't. That being said, the special effects are really good.
No.
So, Kong fighting things and eating an octopus is pretty good.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah. But like, you read things in the trivia section where it's like, numerous characters the entire movie asked people on the crew, how big is this thing? Where should we be looking? And everyone said, I don't know. Which kind of sums it up for me. It's just like, we don't know where this thing is going to be. Just look off.
They didn't even have a guy with a basketball on a stick?
No, they didn't. Apparently not. They were just like, just look somewhere.
It feels like that's why Jurassic World doing bonkers really screwed things up for everybody. Because now they're just like, well, all we need is one of these low-budget guys to bring them in, you know. Yeah. And you hope that you've got stuff like Thor Ragnarok looks really good. And it's like, I would not have chosen Taika Waititi to direct that. It's like, What We Do in the Shadows is really good, but it's not a giant superhero movie, you know? But I think it's also that the studios feel like they can throw their weight around more than if, like, they were like, we need to get David Fincher to make this. You know, and David Fincher's going to be like, nah, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm doing it this way. You know, I think they just don't want to deal with directors with visions. I hate to say it, but...
Well, Edgar Wright, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's still bitter about that. He still has not seen Ant-Man.
I think all these big budget things just get committed down all to hell. It's just, you know, it's like, you have to remember, Kenneth Branagh directed the first Thor movie. And like, if that script had been better, that would have been amazing, because there's some amazing stuff in that first Thor movie, but it's not as forgettable as Thor 2, but it's kind of like...
It's way better than Thor 2.
It absolutely is way better than Thor 2, but it's also...
You also compare it to something like the first Iron Man.
Yeah,
or, you know,
it just doesn't stand out as much as those, and that's a whole other planet, you know, fantasy world thing, and there are some huge moments in that are really cool, but then it's just kind of like, you can just tell everything's condensed down to just, you know, I don't want to say it's focus group to death, but it feels like it's just like, what's the most middle of the road thing we can squeeze out of this? I don't know. Yeah. It seemed for a while like we were heading down a path of really smart big budget movies, and then it just feels like committees come in and you're just like, you know, it's like you even hear the Marvel guys arguing against the direct, you know, the one guy who runs Marvel was just, like, everybody when their movie comes out, 6 months later is like, man, we wanted to do this, this, and this, and Marvel was just like, nah, you're not doing any of that. And then what they described was all like really great.
Yeah.
You know, when they were like, we're going to cut all the farmhouse stuff out of the Avengers movie, the second one. They were just like, no one cares about that. Let's cut it all out. It's like, no, that's the heart of your movie. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, they're all Disney-owned money machines, and that's the problem. Is you just can't take any chances that are gonna piss people off.
Yeah. And I guess for Kong, it felt like they were taking a chance making it a 70s movie. I thought that was interesting. I really thought that was interesting. But it's like the soundtrack is too on the nose. It just feels like they had a soundtrack sampler and they were just like, yeah, put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then, like, they're wandering through the jungle and they play Run Through the Jungle. It's like, really, guys? That's what you decided to go with? It's...
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Did they play Fortunate Son at any point?
I believe they did.
Yeah, of course they fucking
I think music departments these days are just a kid with a Spotify account.
Yeah.
Like
It's how this felt.
Jungle.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's use that. Play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I just think we need a moratorium on Fortunate Son.
I'd be fine with
That's such a good song. I love that song so
Yeah.
much, but
Yeah.
it's been in 879 movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it's all right.
so you guys want to talk some TV?
Sure.
Unless you got other movies.
Nope.
Nope.
I got some TV, though.
Television.
Television. Yes. I watched all of the television. Well, all of the television of one particular show.
Oh.
Y'all remember how I was getting into Game of Thrones?
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, the Throne Zone.
I have, in our quick plug for our Discord, I am almost caught up on Game of Thrones. I have consumed, I think, 5 seasons since we last spoke. It's like 600 hours of television. But I just finished, just last night, I finished episode 10 of season 6.
Oh.
So...
was that the end of season 6?
Yeah, that's the end of
So
season 6.
he's almost here.
Oh, okay. He's almost
Winter
here.
is here for BJ.
Winter has come officially, all over my face. But
Jesus, Winter. That's not cool at all.
yeah, that's what I said.
Gotta give some warning.
I think winter's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ice cold.
All right.
Chuck has no idea what you're talking about. That I get it. I totally get everything that everybody said about this show for the last 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do I sense a big bare naked butt coming?
No.
Oh,
there's
okay.
no
that makes
big-
sense.
I get it. I get it.
No,
I'm here now.
Well, I'm saying.
100% get that.
Okay.
It is every bit as phenomenal as people say. It also has many of the problems that people talk about.
It does.
Like, the only wrong opinion about Game of Thrones is that it's bad. There is no better show for speechifying in the entire history of the universe. Like, whoever is writing the speeches for this show just deserves a medal. They're so fucking good every single time. And I don't care who it is. Every single time somebody gets a chance to recite 15 lines of dialogue in a row, it's just the best shit ever. And I love every second of it. They need a bigger Dragon Effects budget. But
Don't worry.
yeah, well, I mean, every time the dragons are on screen with anything else, they look like shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest hang-up with that. And as somebody who has been a fan of the books since 2 weeks after the show premiered,
Wow, serious hipster there. That's some serious hipster cred you just laid down
You
right
were
there.
like literally the last on the hipster train there.
exactly. That was the last stop before the hipster train left the station.
Yeah.
I went and bought the cassette the day the CD released.
You were like the guy who was running behind it with his suitcase and grabbed that rail on the back of
Yeah,
the train.
the wagon was
with the one
leaving, and I'm
hand.
like, wait, me too. But yeah, like, I watched the first episode and I'm like, I gotta read these books. I gotta read these books first. And I really have no problem with anything that they're doing with the changes that they've made. I think they've been right for a TV show. Like, there's a whole dual reek thing in the book where there are 2 reeks, and
Oh, right.
yeah, that's confusing. There's a 2 Sansa thing, and there's a whole bunch of
That's been in my head a few times.
dirty, nasty, disgusting, shame. But there is just a bunch of chaff in the books that I'm glad they didn't slog through in the TV show. And surprisingly, seasons 4 and 5 weren't as bad as everybody told me they were going to be. And I guess if you watch them back to back to back to back to back, it's not so rough. But when you go with, you know, an episode that's like kind of middling from week to week, I can see where people are like, "That's all we get."
Yeah.
That's all we get out of.
Ain't nobody died.
I got nothing. I got nothing to talk about for a week. God damn it!
That's the other side to not marathoning shows. You know, to having the week to digest is like, if it's not good, it becomes even less good in your mind because you're like, I have to wait so long, and this is all I can think about. And
yeah. Seasons 4 and 5 were just like a long movie for me, like 10-hour movie, I guess. But so it could afford a lull in the middle, and they still spent too much time in fucking Marine because Marine is the worst.
I think they were spinning their wheels thinking he was going to finish the fucking book and they could move on with their story, but
I guess so.
Then they were finally just like, look, dude, we're going to keep going. You want to tell us what the ending is, and we'll work back from there?
Yeah.
Everyone dies.
Oh, all right.
Pretty much.
So this might sound weird, but reading the books first, did most of the characters match what was in your head? Because I know, like, I did that with Harry Potter when I first heard that they were casting the movies. I was like, I need to read these books beforehand so I have something in my head of what these characters are before the movie thing replaces them, which the movie versions did replace them, even though I only saw like the first few movies when they came out. But was the show like that for you?
Everybody is so well cast on that show. I don't know if there's a bad actor on that show. And that, like, it's weird. It feels like somebody's going to jump out and go, "Oh, but what about this guy?" And it's going to be one guy from like a 10-second scene in the middle of season 4. But I really don't think there's any bad acting, and I think they cast it really well. There's some people whose ages are a little bit different than I would expect, and I understand why they did some stuff with...
Yeah, I've heard Jorah is a lot more dumpy in the books versus like the good-looking, I forget the actor's name, the good-looking dude that plays him in...
Ian Glenn or something like that.
Yeah.
That dude needs to be in a fucking Western. Like, as soon as possible. I want to see that guy and, like, just replace anything that you would think about, you know, anytime you think, oh man, Clint Eastwood, I would love to have a Clint Eastwood Western again.
Who's young.
That fucking dude.
Yep.
He is your Clint Eastwood. But I don't remember him being necessarily dumpy. I actually don't remember his description in the book very well, but it wasn't out of place. He isn't out of place. Because he's not that spry, you know, so he's still, you know, an older character. Trying to think anybody who I don't feel like really fits, and I can't think of anybody.
Okay. That's fine. I was just curious.
Yeah. I don't know. Lena Headey, she's a wonderful actress. I don't know if she is necessarily the, like, most beautiful thing in the world sort of Cersei ideal, but it doesn't really matter. She's still stupidly hot, so she fits the bill well enough. But again, like, I can't stress how good the cast is in the series. Like, the only person that I think may let it down a little bit is what's her name? Emilia Clarke. and that may just be because the character is kind of shit. Like, Daenerys is kind of, I don't want to say a bad character. She's just a whiny teen, you know, an impulsive whiny teen. So, she probably does a good enough job with that, and I might just be hating on the character a little bit, but
Hater.
it's good.
Why did I only just now put together that there are 2 Sarah Connors in that show?
I don't know.
'Cause I never knew there was one Sarah Connor in that show.
Well, the TV show and the last Geonesis.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
that's
either,
right.
so.
All right.
But
Yeah, I had forgotten that
Yeah.
Lady Haiti was in the
TV
Sarah
show,
Connor
yeah.
Chronicles. Yeah,
Sarah Chronicles.
Sarah Connor. Yeah,
But
yeah, that is weird.
It
Yeah.
just now dawned on me. Like,
yeah. They have finally killed my favorite character, so I am officially a
Hater.
a hater.
Cool.
So I am in the process of picking a new favorite character.
Good luck with that.
It'll take me like 9 seconds.
All right,
There's some good things in that show.
you could say
yes,
that. Yes.
That's correct.
So Harlow,
yes.
what have you been watching?
I watched the entirety of a Netflix series that I don't know. I mean, I'm now becoming increasingly confused as to how to classify. I watched the new Wet Hot American Summer.
Ah.
10 years later.
Okay.
You were a fan of the Wet Hot American Summers.
Yeah. So I mean, there's the original movie. Then they did the first day of camp, which was like one big look. We're 15 years older, but we're supposed to be younger than we were. Joke mostly.
Yep.
And then I mean, this one all but eschews that, you know, because it's just like occasionally they'll drop like, "Hey, I'm 26 years old," and it's like, "No, you're not." Yeah. Yeah, it's bizarre. Like I think it finally dawned on me like what some people have issues with Netflix shows. Like this was the first one where I didn't even really feel it until like you were complaining about Arrested Development recap, where. But I mean, these very much lean into like the "we're not all in the same room" jokes. Like in fact, like one of the characters just literally is like, "I'm going to go take a nap over here," and then like disappears for like 4 episodes, and then wakes up and is like, "Man, I slept a long time," and it's just like it's dumb shit like that. That like
I
it's
appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're gonna do it, just at least lean into it. But
The Arrested Development stuff was bad.
Yeah.
Just like Henry Winkler on a green screen somewhere in another universe. You're like, wait, what? Where are you?
but like I can't help but think like I feel like they should just make these movies. Like the idea of making these a one series or like a 1 season series is very strange, and I feel like just cutting it down to one good movie would be better.
How many episodes is this one?
It's 8 episodes. I mean, so at give or take 25, 30 minutes, you know, like it's a 4-hour movie,
Yeah.
you know, like there's some good stuff in there, but there's probably some things that could have gone. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's like it's a bad idea, but it's strange that to like keep doing this. I don't know if they plan to ever do another one or, you know, if this was it. Like we've got all the jokes. You know, yeah, there's a couple moments that just like doubled me over with laughter, but like for the most part, it's like there's a lot of spinning your wheel moments too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like its most clever jokes are the we couldn't get people back together again, you know, yet again to do this, and just playing into that, like having one character basically Skype in, but it's not Skype. It's, you know, 1992. 1991.
So they just on CompuServe?
Yeah, well, they're like, well, we'll use the NASA blah blah blah
Oh.
circuit, and you know, suddenly we can do video chat.
Okay.
In 1991.
So I asked you this question when you watched the last run. I'll ask you this one. How much is Paul Rudd in it?
Oh, plenty. Like
Yeah?
he's not one of the ones who's like too limited. The big ones, like the one big star that just couldn't be in it at all is Bradley Cooper. They couldn't get him this time.
Oh, okay.
But they replaced him with Adam Scott.
Oh, all right.
And so like the characters in there, and they're just like, he's actually sitting there. Is like, do you think anyone would be able to recognize me after my nose job? And like Adam Scott, who looks nothing like Bradley Cooper, they were just like, well, you had a deviated septum, so you had to have that done. And like,
That's
okay.
fine.
And again, they address it like someone's like, is that you? And he's like, yeah, I had a nose job. He's like, well, it's a fixture deviated septum. Oh, that's good. All right. And they just that joke's done. It like never comes up again. It's like he's this character now.
See, that's fine.
Yeah.
I appreciate that kind of joke.
Yeah. I mean, the weirdness that they slipped into with first day of camp kind of comes back.
Oh.
In a big way. Because like that is one of those things like Star Crystal where it's just like towards the end it's like it takes a hard left and it's like, holy shit, you're doing this, aren't you? Okay. And that comes back around again in this. So
Of course it does.
yeah, I mean, if you're a fan, you've maybe just you've either watched it or maybe you forgot it came out, but it's there.
I did forget because it's Netflix and they don't tell you shit.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that was on my radar. So
Okay.
like I kind of was like aware at the beginning of August that was coming. So yeah, it's still worth watching. I mean, some people have limited screen time or do the like, hey, I'm
Here for a nap.
Yeah, I'm here for, or I'm here like, but you won't really see me in the shot with everybody else kind of thing occasionally. But they lean into that kind of joke a few times and it mostly works. But
Okay.
yeah, it's still worth the journey. And I think the funniest, the most trolly thing they did was what set this up. Like, you know, there's like a unanswered question, and they just leave it unanswered by the end of it, and they keep acting like they're going to come back around and explain it. Like it's like a joke from the original movie where you know it's dumb, but they keep circling back around like they're going to explain what a thing was, and it never happens.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Huh.
Yeah. Paul Rudd's still good. He's an American treasure.
Yes.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Cool.
We got a whole bunch of emails, but we started late tonight, so we're cutting it short.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll do some contact information
Okay.
to get even more for next week.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready? BMFcast.com. It's a website. Email address, bmf@bmfcast.com. Phone number, 9105-JOCKS-BMF. Go to the website. There's a Discord button. Join our Discord. Talk with us. Get closer to the BMF community, the Bad Movie Friends,
Right.
as we're calling it.
Yes.
Mm.
There's
Get
other
in there
buttons
and-
there too.
What's that?
There's other buttons there too.
Yeah, but
Not
this
just
is the important
a
one right
whole
now.
page of a Discord button.
Right. So yeah, get in there. Get in tight with the BMF community and chat with us. We got a Throne Zone. We got a channel for hot bangers. And we also have some video game related stuff. And there's also another button on the website. Is the Patreon button, and you can click that and give us money, and then you'll get super secret access to the super secret, super swanky patron lounge on the Discord. So get on that, suckers.
Yeah. Like he said.
Cool. Well, let's get out of here, shall we?
All right.
I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
And this is BMFcast out. Bye. Motherfuckers.
Goodbye.
Motherfuckers.
Steve shows up literally as we're signing off.
Hey guys, what's going on? Aw.
He pulled a Kyle.
I was gonna say that's what Kyle always does.
Kyle has the most amazing timing of anyone.
I
I've
just
seen.
got off work. What's the show?
Yeah,
Oh,
literally in the last 45 seconds of every show, Kyle shows up.
So you'll appreciate this one thing they do with
Uh-huh.
the new they basically created two characters and inserted them into shots of the old stuff, hoping like wondering if it because like
to like explain their
I think
presence?
well I think they were just like we don't have enough characters because so many people can't make it,
Right.
So they just invented two characters that were like there for all the key moments.
so they made a Nikki and Paulo character.
Kind of, yeah. Like, it's kind of amazing. Like, there's just this one couple, and it's like they're like, "Yeah, remember when we were like?" And then they'll like cut to a thing, and they're just like digitally inserted into the famous scenes from the original movie.
That's fine with me.
Yeah,
That's totally fine with me.
and they're not like big actors or anything. It's just like it's kind of halfway believable because it's like you can't go like, "Well,
they weren't
that's
in
so
that."
and so."
okay.
Like there are two I couldn't tell you their names. Like looking in the cast, like trying to figure out who they were. That it's just it almost works, but I'm like, no, I've seen that movie enough times. You weren't in that movie.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll go for that.
All right.
Bye, Mackie.
Bye. I'll see you in like a couple weeks.
Oh,
I'll see
yeah,
you guys
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah. Not online.
You're not going to be here next week.
Nope.
Aw.
I'll be in town.
You're not online
Boo.
It'll be
tomorrow?
my first night back. What's that?
You're not online tomorrow?
No, we won't be on. Well, I'll be. No, I'll be at work.
Okay.
I'm in our podcast.
Oh, no.
Our extra
No one
special
will-
Patreon podcast.
Yeah, no one will see that.
Nope.
We hide that.
Make you pay for it.
Yeah.
It's behind the
Does that mean we
wall
get to watch
where
a
someone has
musical?
to pay.
What?
Does that mean we get to watch a musical?
No.
No, your movie's picked.
We get to watch a long.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a good one. It's a movie I have seen, and it's awesome.
I like length, but is it
Girthy?
big around?
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
something you can really hold on to.
Good.
Yeah. And as soon as we go off the air, I'll tell you what it is.
Thick.
Oh, do we want to go off the air? All right. Well, tease.
Well, I don't want to give away our paid-for information.
Sure. You are pretty late, Steve. Also, this stream's fucking up.
It's like 8:30 in Steve time because he said he's on West Coast.
Yeah. All right. Well, the stream's fucking up again, so I'm just gonna end it.
Yeah.
End it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're just gonna have to accept the fact that there are going to be some